If you are drifting through life, if you rise each morning with no clear purpose, no burning desire, no definite aim, you are already defeated before the day begins. Yes, I said defeated. Not by the world, not by your employer, not by your bank account or your childhood or your circumstance, but by your own lack of direction. And if you will listen closely to what I am about to say and act upon it with determination, you shall never again awaken into that condition. You shall rise, not as a wanderer, but as a man of destiny, different, dangerous, definite. Let us begin with the plain truth. You were not born to be average. You were trained to be average. You were conditioned, perhaps from childhood, to doubt yourself, to fear boldness, to bow to the opinions of others, and to accept less than what you truly desire. And if no one has ever told you this before, allow me to be the first. That training was a lie. You were not placed upon this earth to shrink. You were placed here to expand. You were placed here to rise. You were placed here to discover your aim and then to pursue it with such force, such faith, and such persistence that failure flees at the sight of your spirit. But none of this can happen until you wake up. And not just physically, no, I speak of a far more vital awakening. I speak of a spiritual awakening, a mental awakening, the kind that strips away false beliefs and awakens within you a sense of absolute personal power. And that awakening begins now. Every morning that you rise without a purpose, the ghost of indecision crawls into your mind and makes a home there. The ghost of fear of poverty whispers lies into your ears, that you are not enough, that you will never have enough, that you were not born for greatness. These are not truths. These are voices planted in the minds of men by defeat, by failure, by disappointment. And if you do not cast them out, they will become your permanent guests. You are not broke, you are not defeated, you are untrained, and that is something we can fix. The next 30 days are not a motivational exercise. They are not an experiment. They are a mental combat operation, a war waged inside the walls of your own mind. You are going to tear down every excuse, every hesitation, every limiting belief that has kept you circling in place like a prisoner in a cell with the door wide open. You will no longer hope. You will train. You will no longer wish. You will decide. You will no longer ask for permission. You will walk in power. It begins with repetition. You must understand the law of repetition, that what you hear daily, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you begin to act upon. And what you act upon becomes your destiny. That is why I instruct you now. Do not merely listen. Speak these truths aloud. Write down your definite aim. Place it upon your wall. Read it in the morning when the world is still and the mind is open. Read it again at night when the battle of the day has passed and the subconscious mind is most impressionable. Speak it, hear it, believe it, become it. Let me remind you of a truth that the world has tried to bury. The man who repeats, "I am weak," becomes weak. The man who repeats, "I am strong," begins to rise. The mind is a fertile field, and it will grow whatever seed you plant, be it weeds of despair or roots of greatness. Now listen to me well and repeat after me. I am not who I was. I am becoming who I was meant to be. I was not born to drift. I was born to command. Every morning I rise, I grow stronger in thought, in decision, and in purpose. I speak power. I breathe faith. I act with direction. These are not mere affirmations. They are incantations of identity. They are the bricks with which you shall build your new self. For your life will never exceed the identity you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as weak, you shall never act with strength. But if you condition your mind to see a conqueror in the mirror, then no setback, no rejection, no fear shall stop you. I have spoken to the greatest men of our age, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Schwab, and I tell you, without exception, they all rose from obscurity. They all began without wealth, without favor, without support. What they possessed was a mind that obeyed their will. a desire that would not be denied, and a burning obsession with purpose. What made them different from the men who remained common? It was not genius, it was not inheritance, it was not luck, it was decision. The decision to rise every day with their aim burned into their consciousness like a torch in the dark. The decision to think and act and believe as though they were already the man they desired to become. The decision to never again entertain the thought of failure. Now I tell you, if you will do the same for the next 30 days, you will not recognize yourself when this is over. You will walk taller. You will think clearer. You will speak more directly. You will feel within you a strange and unfamiliar sensation. Not fear, not doubt, but certainty. But this will not happen because you listened. It will happen because you acted. And so I command you now, rise early, silence the world, speak your aim aloud, affirm your faith, declare your power, move toward your goal. The old you must die a little every morning, and the new you must be fed through thought, through repetition, through faith, and through action. This is not a suggestion. This is your salvation. Each day you listen, you strengthen your mind. Each day you repeat your aim. You feed your soul. Each day you act in faith. You train your body to obey your will. This is the process by which greatness is forged, not in one lightning flash of inspiration, but in 30 days of battle, each morning another strike upon the anvil of your will. And in that fire, the man you were meant to be will emerge. Now take a breath. Look around. The world you have built up to this moment has been a reflection of the thoughts you have habitually entertained. But from this moment forward, that world will change, because you will change. Do not merely listen. Obey, speak, move, become. Your life begins where your excuses end. Your new life begins where the old one was buried, in decision. No man ever awakened to greatness by accident. No man ever drifted into success. The river of achievement does not flow toward the idle. It moves only for those who have dammed its current, carved its course, and commanded its direction through definiteness of purpose. Without this principle, all other virtues are scattered like seeds upon rock. With it, a man gains the ability to call upon unseen forces, to attract opportunity as iron draws to the magnet, to bend time, men, and matter to his will. A definite chief aim is the compass by which every fortune has been discovered, the standard by which every victorious life is measured. It is the one idea a man stakes his life upon. It is not a wish. It is not a vague interest. It is not a list of possibilities. It is one thing, named, written, declared, and pursued with a persistence that burns bridges behind him. This aim is the golden thread that ties together all acts, all thoughts, all days into a single march toward triumph. Let me tell you the story of a man who understood this law. His name was Edwin C. Barnes. He was not wealthy. He had no college degree. He did not know the right men, but he had a chief aim, and that chief aim was this: I will become the business partner of Thomas Edison, not an employee, not a clerk, a partner. And when that idea took hold of him, it possessed him. It burned so brightly within him that he left everything, boarded a freight train, and rode to Orange, New Jersey, with nothing but a determination so fixed it would not let him sleep. When he arrived at Edison's office, he did not beg, he did not plead, he declared, and while Edison did not take him on as a partner that day, he saw in the young man's eyes something different from the thousands who had knocked before. He saw fire, he saw decision, he saw purpose, and he hired him, not because he had the right credentials, but because he had the right mind. Years later, Barnes saw his chance. Edison had invented a new dictation machine, and his salesman had no enthusiasm for it. Barnes took it, sold it, and sold it again and again, until Edison gave him what he had desired from the start, a partnership in the business. That is how riches are claimed, by men who refuse to live vaguely. I warn you now, if the words "I'll try" are in your mouth, you are already defeated. The man who says "I will" commands his future. The man who says "I'll try" gives it away to chance, to fear, to the tide of the day. The world does not reward hesitation. It punishes it. It does not celebrate the man who is almost certain. It forgets him. It rewards the man who says, "This is mine. I will have it. I am willing to pay any price." This world pays and riches only to those who name their desire in specific terms and pursue it with fire. There is no place in the palace of fortune for the man who carries 10 ideas in his head but acts on none. You must choose one. You must name it. You must write it in bold letters and look upon it until your mind sees it as already yours. Until you breathe it, walk it, become it. That is how faith is built, through repetition, through mental ownership, through decision. Write these words down now and say them aloud. I know what I want. I am determined to get it. I will never stop until I have it. These words are not entertainment, they are command. And if you obey them daily, they will begin to transform your very identity. For it is not the size of your desire that determines your success, it is the clarity of your aim and the force with which you pursue it. Sit with yourself today, alone and uninterrupted, and ask, what do I truly want? Not what you wish for in idle moments, not what you envy in others. What do you desire so deeply that you are willing to pay the price, to rise earlier, to work longer, to walk alone, to be misunderstood, to be criticized? What are you willing to suffer for? That is your aim. Write it, burn it into your mind, and from this moment forward, make every act of your day serve it. Do not change your aim every week. The man who plants a seed must tend it with patience. He does not dig it up after 3 days to plant another. He waters, he waits, he believes. Faith is the soil, desire is the seed, decision is the water, and action is the sunlight that brings it to life. You must allow time to do its part, but only after you have done yours with absolute persistence. I have met many men who failed not because their dreams were too large, but because their direction changed too often. Today they wish to be wealthy. Tomorrow they wish to be admired. The next day they wished only for peace. The man who changes his aim constantly cannot command his subconscious, cannot direct his faith, cannot move men or circumstances. He is a leaf on the wind. He is moved by whatever stirs around him. Do not become that man. The successful man is unmoved by delay. He is undeterred by doubt. He knows that his aim, once decided upon, becomes a magnet. And the longer he holds it with clarity and belief, the more it attracts the means to achieve itself. That is why the world seems to bend for men of decision, because decision is the only language infinite intelligence understands. When you are vague, the universe is silent. When you are definite, it begins to respond. Repeat after me now. I have burned the bridge behind me. I have declared war on the man I used to be. These words are your sword, and they will cut away the habits, the excuses, the fear that has bound you to a lesser life. You do not need more talent. You do not need more information. You need one aim burned into your soul like a brand, and the daily decision to move toward it no matter how you feel. Do not say, I will try to write my aim. Say, I have written it. Do not say, I hope this works. Say, this is already mine. Do not say, I'll give it a shot. Say, this is my life. I will shape it. These are the words of power. These are the words that shape kings, inventors, leaders, builders of industry. You are not here to sample life. You are here to conquer it. I say again, the next 30 days are not entertainment. They are a blueprint, a plan, a command. If you will obey this instruction, if you will speak your aim aloud each morning and each night, if you will visualize it as though it were already true, if you will act daily with this goal in mind, you will wake up different, and you will walk through this world with a fire in your chest and a storm in your steps that no man can ignore. Now rise, find a pen, write your aim, declare it aloud, post it where your eyes must see it each day, and remember these words until they become the rhythm of your spirit. I know what I want. I am determined to get it. I will never stop until I have it. Faith is not an accident. Faith is not a blessing that falls from the sky like rain upon the undeserving. Faith is not a feeling reserved for the pious or the lucky. Faith is a state of mind, and like all states of mind, it is created, built, constructed, laid down like stone upon stone until it becomes a fortress so impenetrable that no fear, no failure, and no man can shake it. Faith is the medium through which desire is translated into its physical equivalent. Without faith, desire dies in the soil. Without faith, action is feeble. Without faith, the greatest ideas of men perish before they are born. But with it, with it, desire becomes gold, thought becomes reality, and the invisible becomes tangible. That is no speculation. That is law. Every man who ever accomplished anything of lasting power began with faith in a thing not yet seen. Look at Henry Ford, a man with no formal education, who believed he could build a motor car for the common man while the world laughed at the idea. He did not possess certainty from the crowd. He built certainty within himself, and that certainty was called faith. He repeated his vision until it no longer sounded impossible. He fed it to his mind day and night until it was not merely an idea, but a command to be obeyed. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times in pursuit of the electric light. 10,000! Most men would have abandoned the effort after 10. But Edison had faith, not in hope, not in chance. He had faith in his purpose and faith in himself. And because of that faith, you and I live in a world lit by his persistence. These men did not wait to feel faith. They built it, brick by brick, word by word, day by day. They used the tool I now place in your hand, auto-suggestion, the deliberate repetition of belief, spoken aloud, written down, entered into the subconscious until it becomes your identity. I say to you now, do not wait for faith to arrive. Build it with your mouth, construct it with your thoughts, affirm it with your decisions. Speak these words aloud and do not whisper them, command them. I believe in myself. I believe in my purpose. I believe that I am guided by infinite intelligence. My faith is stronger than fear. Say it again, with strength, with clarity, with conviction. For every time you speak these words, you are no longer the man who doubts. You are becoming the man who believes, and belief is the seed of all power. The greatest battles of life are not fought in boardrooms or on battlefields. They are fought in the silence of the early morning, when doubt creeps in through the cracks of your confidence and whispers, "You are not enough." Doubt does not shout. It speaks slowly, gently, with the voice of reason. It says, "Be realistic. Don't dream so big. Play it safe." But let me tell you, doubt is the subtle poison of achievement. And unless you drown it out with the voice of faith, it will kill your dream before it takes its first breath. You must learn to speak over your doubt, not argue with it. Replace it. Replace it with affirmations so strong, so repeated, that the subconscious no longer makes room for fear. When you wake, before you touch a single task, repeat your definite chief aim. Say it aloud as if it were already yours. Speak it with emotion, with intensity, with the tone of a man who expects to be obeyed. You are not asking the world. You are commanding your mind. There is no magic in these words until you attach emotion. Faith is not sterile. It is heated, alive, vibrant. You must feel it. You must burn with belief until your entire being is saturated with the certainty that what you seek is already on its way. Speak it. Feel it. Live it. The man who wins is the man who sees the invisible before others believe it is possible. He does not require proof before he acts. He does not need the applause of the masses. He walks forward on the bridge he is building, one stone at a time, never stopping, never doubting, until the other side appears beneath his feet. That is faith, that is mastery, and that is the man you are becoming. You may not feel like this man today. That is acceptable. But you must speak as he speaks. You must act as he acts. For as you repeat these habits, your mind accepts them, and once the mind accepts, the body follows. And once the body follows, the world begins to bend. This is not fantasy. It is fact. It is law, and it is yours to use. Understand this. Repetition is the tool by which all great faith is installed. You do not rise to new levels of power by accident. You train yourself into greatness. Every morning you say your aim aloud. Every time you repeat your affirmation, you are chipping away at the stone of doubt and carving out the statue of belief. Do it long enough, and faith becomes your default condition. You must take full responsibility for what you allow into your mind. Every conversation, every thought, every book, every whisper, these are suggestions. Some lead to power, others to fear. Guard your gate. Let nothing enter your mind that contradicts your definite purpose. Let nothing sit upon your consciousness that casts shadow over your belief. Speak light, think light, and act in the light of faith. Now I offer you this challenge. For the next 30 days, before the day begins, repeat your definite chief aim aloud. Not lazily, not casually, with passion, with clarity, with the fire of a man who refuses to die with his potential still locked inside him. Burn it into your mind like a prayer, not as a beggar pleads, but as a king demands. And do not stop when you are tired. Stop when your subconscious no longer questions who you are. Faith, my friend, is not hoped for. It is forged, and you are the blacksmith of your future. With each repetition, with each affirmation, with each act of boldness in the face of doubt, you raise the temperature of belief until the steel of your character becomes unbreakable. Do not concern yourself with how long it takes. The man who is certain of his end does not curse the time it takes to reach it. He walks each step with assurance because he knows that all things bend to the will of the faithful. The faithful are never truly alone. They are guided, they are strengthened, they are upheld by a force greater than circumstance, infinite intelligence itself. Now rise, say your aim aloud, speak your affirmations again. Let them echo into the walls of your mind until they shake loose every lie you once believed. There is no more room for doubt. You are not a question mark. You are not a possibility. You are a decision made flesh. And the man who walks in faith walks with destiny. Say it once more. I believe in myself. I believe in my purpose. I believe that I am guided by infinite intelligence. My faith is stronger than fear. Let this be the sound that wakes you. Let this be the voice that leads you. Let this be the creed by which you walk into every day until your outer world matches the vision you now hold within. You will never rise higher than your thoughts. Your outer world will never exceed the boundaries you have established in your inner world. A man may possess talent, intelligence, and opportunity, but if his thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, or limitation, he will never break free from the invisible cage he has built for himself. That cage is the condition of his subconscious mind. And until he trains that mind, no change will last. The subconscious is a servant, one that does not reason, does not argue, and does not judge. It receives what you give it. It stores what you repeat. And it delivers back to you in life what you have impressed upon it in thought. Whether you feed it faith or fear, riches or poverty, courage or complaint, it accepts all alike. And what the subconscious accepts, infinite intelligence executes. This is a truth that will determine whether you become a master or a slave in life. You are the gatekeeper. You are the author. You are the one who decides what enters the mind and therefore what grows from it. There is no neutrality here. Every word spoken, every thought repeated, every belief rehearsed is a command to the subconscious. There are no harmless thoughts. Every idea is either planting or poisoning. Idle talk, complaining, and negative thinking are the most dangerous forms of self-sabotage a man can engage in, and they are the most common. Every time you say, I can't, every time you repeat your hardship, every time you speak limitation over your life, you are giving your subconscious permission to make those conditions permanent. You are saying, this is who I am, and the subconscious says, yes, sir, and that becomes your world. From this moment, you will not speak of failure. You will not repeat your limitations. You will speak only of power, riches, strength, and success, not because it is wishful thinking, not because it is pleasant, but because it is the only language your subconscious understands to build a life of greatness. When you speak, you do not merely inform others, you instruct your own mind, and your mind obeys the dominant voice it hears most often, your own. Andrew Carnegie became the richest man of his age, not merely by business acumen, but by mental mastery. He believed in riches long before he held them in his hand. He saw wealth not as something outside of himself, but as something that must first be earned within. He fed his subconscious with the image of success, the feelings of wealth, the thoughts of value and service. And over time, that belief became substance. That inner picture became his outer reality. He understood the principle I now give to you. Guard the door of your mind. Feed it only what you wish to become. If you desire strength, speak strength. If you desire riches, speak riches. If you desire influence, speak as one who commands influence. And above all, never allow the voice of fear or mediocrity to speak without immediate contradiction. When the voice says, you are not good enough, you answer, I am prepared. I am worthy. I am backed by infinite intelligence. Morning and night, these are the golden hours. In these moments, your subconscious is most receptive, most open, most vulnerable to suggestion. Before you touch the day or retire into sleep, you must seize this window. Do not allow the world to program you. Do not begin the day with gossip, distraction, or the complaints of the defeated. Begin it with your own command. Speak your definite chief aim aloud. Declare your faith. Affirm your purpose. And visualize the end as though it were already achieved. Before the world speaks defeat into you, speak victory over yourself. This is the foundation of mental hygiene. You brush your teeth each morning. Now brush your mind. Remove the decay of doubt, the residue of yesterday's fear, the toxins of other people's opinions. Replace them with words that strengthen, thoughts that build, and images that uplift. Do not let a single day pass without this ritual. For as surely as your body decays without movement, your mind decays without direction. You must build an inner voice that commands action, silences fear, and rewards courage. This voice does not come by accident. It comes by training. You must practice speaking to yourself with power, not pleading, not hoping, power. The man who commands himself cannot be controlled by others. The man who believes in himself cannot be enslaved by doubt. And the man who feeds his subconscious with faith shall find himself lifted to heights others never dare imagine. Say this now, my thoughts are seeds. I plant only greatness. I speak only strength. I believe in my purpose. I train my mind and my life follows. These are not soft words. These are tools. These are weapons. These are bricks by which you will build a new identity, and you must use them daily. Repetition is not a suggestion. It is law. It is the way all habits are formed, and your thoughts are the deepest habits you carry. Speak these affirmations until your subconscious can no longer reject them, until they become the default condition of your belief. I warn you, if you do not train your mind, it will be trained for you, by circumstance, by media, by failure, by the opinions of average men. And you will find yourself living not the life you desire, but the life you were handed. Do not let that happen. Take hold of your mind and direct it as a general directs his army, with order, with confidence, with command. You do not rise to success. You speak yourself there. You do not become wealthy by chance. You think your way there. You do not overcome fear by waiting. You replace it thought by thought, word by word, until courage becomes your condition. This is the way of every man who has accomplished something greater than himself. He first believed it. Then he repeated it. Then he became it. You must do the same. And do not be concerned if you do not feel these words yet. Do not measure your future by your current emotion. Feelings follow repetition. Emotion follows thought. When you train your mind daily, eventually your heart follows, and then your actions follow, and then the world follows. But the beginning must be governed not by how you feel, but by what you repeat. Tonight, before sleep, take 3 minutes. Speak your definite chief aim aloud. Visualize yourself living it. Feel it. Own it. Believe it. Then allow that image to rest in your subconscious while you sleep. In the morning, before any distraction, repeat the process. You will be astonished what changes in your confidence, your discipline, and your opportunities when your subconscious is aligned with your vision. What the subconscious accepts, infinite intelligence executes. There is no other formula. There is no greater advantage. There is no shortcut more powerful than the consistent, deliberate training of your mind. You now know what to do. You now have the key. The question is, will you use it daily, or will you forget it with the rising noise of life? Choose wisely. You will not rise higher than your thoughts. Train the subconscious, and your life will obey. Procrastination is the silent thief that robs more men of greatness than failure ever could. It creeps in quietly, clothed in comfort and logic. It says, wait until you're ready. Wait until the time is right. Wait until you know more, have more, feel more. And while you wait, your dream dies a slow, unnoticed death. I tell you plainly, procrastination is the graveyard of greatness. It is the hell where potential is buried alive. There is a law that separates the great from the forgotten, and it is this. Successful men make decisions quickly and firmly. Failures change often and slowly. The man who hesitates perishes, not because he is incapable, but because he allowed doubt to rule where decision should have led. The man who acts may stumble, may fall, may err, but he learns, he moves, he builds momentum. The man who delays learns nothing, gains nothing, becomes nothing. I want you to understand that every great fortune, every monument of success, every transformation of identity began with a single act of bold decision, not a perfect act, not a guaranteed act, but a firm and immediate one. Action is the seed of all growth. Delay is its poison. Consider the story of Charles M. Schwab, the steel magnate who became the right hand of Andrew Carnegie. Schwab was not born into privilege. He did not wait for credentials. He did not tread cautiously through life. He acted. At 25, he was running a mill. At 35, he was president of Carnegie Steel. He rose not because he waited, but because he moved where others hesitated. He took massive risks, executed bold plans, and made swift decisions. While other men debated, he built. Schwab once said, "The man who does not act when opportunity knocks is not a man of destiny, but a prisoner of his fear." And I tell you, the man who waits for perfect conditions will wait forever. There is no perfect moment, there is only now. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear wearing a mask. It is spiritual cowardice. It is the soul's retreat from the battlefield of purpose. When you say, "I'll do it later," what you truly mean is, "I am afraid to begin." And if you do not confront that fear with immediate action, it will grow stronger and build a fortress around your will. You will find yourself locked behind its gates, watching your life pass as a spectator instead of a commander. Write this upon your heart. I act now. I do not delay. I trust my instincts. I move boldly. I correct as I go. This affirmation is your sword against hesitation. It is your shield against fear. It is the rallying cry of every man who refuses to die with his greatness unused. Action kills fear. Delay feeds it. This is law. The moment you move, the chains begin to break. The moment you commit, the fog of uncertainty begins to clear. But if you wait for clarity before you act, you will never act. You must learn to move while still uncertain, to strike while still unsure. The man of decision becomes the man of results. The man of delay becomes the man of regret. Each morning must begin with a definite act toward your aim. This is non-negotiable. This is sacred. Whether it is a message sent, a paragraph written, a call made, a plan clarified, a step taken, it does not matter how small. It matters only that you act, because action compounds. Action becomes identity. Each deed done in service of your definite chief aim adds weight to the scale of belief. You begin to see yourself not as a dreamer, but as a doer, not as one who hopes, but as one who builds. Success is not reserved for the smartest. It belongs to the swift, to the man who acts while others plan, to the man who writes the page while others sharpen their pencils, to the man who knocks on the door while others rehearse their pitch. The world does not belong to the man who prepares endlessly. It belongs to the man who moves with imperfect force. Repeat this aloud until it becomes the rhythm of your blood. Do not wait, do not waver. The man who acts wins. These words are your command. Obey them each morning. When your mind says later, respond with now. When your body says tired, respond with go. When fear says what if, respond with I will. The decision to act will always feel heavier than the temptation to wait. But that weight is the weight of your crown. Carry it. I have studied the minds of the wealthiest, the most powerful, the most effective men of our age. Without exception, every one of them possessed the habit of swift decision. Andrew Carnegie once said he could tell within 60 seconds whether he would go into business with a man, not because he was careless, but because he trusted his mind, acted on facts, and understood that inaction is the enemy of power. You must trust yourself, not foolishly, but faithfully. Trust that the mind guided by a definite chief aim, conditioned by repetition, and driven by purpose will make the right decision more often than not. And when it errs, it will learn. But the man who avoids decision avoids growth, and the man who avoids growth avoids life. Do not confuse movement with motion. Busyness is not action. Action is measured by direction. It is the conscious movement toward your stated aim. To wake early and check your messages is not action. To wake and send one message that advances your purpose is. You must train yourself to distinguish between the noise of activity and the clarity of purpose. The man who acts with purpose multiplies his power. Let me now ask you, what action have you taken today toward your definite chief aim? What decision have you made? What bridge have you crossed? What line have you drawn? If the answer is nothing, then rise now and correct that. Write the message. Begin the plan. Send the letter. Do the work. Even 1 minute spent in purposeful action is worth more than an hour lost in delay. This is not about speed for speed's sake. It is about identity. Each time you act, you confirm to your subconscious that you are a man of decision. Each time you delay, you confirm that you are still ruled by fear. This is not theory. It is fact. The mind watches your behavior. The soul listens to your movement. You do not become who you wish to be. You become what you do repeatedly. So act, and when you fall short, act again. And when you doubt, act again. And when others say, wait, act again. The world yields to the man who has decided. The world bows to the one who moves. No matter how far you are from your goal, no matter how uncertain the road ahead, you have only one task each morning. Move forward. And now rise and repeat. I act now. I do not delay. I trust my instincts. I move boldly. I correct as I go. These are not soft words. These are commands. Speak them as such. Write them down. Post them where you see them. Begin your day with them. And then, above all, prove them by action. You are not here to prepare forever. You are not here to wonder. You are here to execute. Do not wait. Do not waver. The man who acts wins. The world will do everything in its power to make you forget who you are. From the moment you rise, voices begin to whisper, shout, and pull at your mind. Critics, doubters, advertisements, trivial conversations, news of defeat, all of it designed to drown out the one voice that matters most, your own. And unless you have trained your attention, unless you have secured dominion over your own thinking, you will find yourself living the opinions of others, never your own truth. Let me say this clearly. 95% of men are not thinking their own thoughts. They are living out the programming of their environment. They wake up and absorb the fears of their family, the limits of their friends, the hesitation of the masses. They do not create, they react, they do not build, they borrow. They are not led by vision, they are dragged by influence, and they wonder why their life looks like a diluted version of their deepest desires. If you are to rise into your destiny, you must build a new habit, a habit of inner authority, a habit of silence, a habit of focus. You must come to trust your own voice more than the shouting of the crowd. You must come to believe your own decisions more than the endless opinions of the world. This does not mean arrogance. This means sovereignty. This means clarity. This means you become the master of your mind, not its servant. The mastermind principle teaches that no man succeeds alone. He must join forces with those whose minds are aligned with his purpose. But most men today have no mastermind. They have a misery circle. They are surrounded not by allies, but by anchors, critics, doubters, drifters, and cowards. And they wonder why their ideas never take flight. They wonder why their confidence leaks like a cracked jar. Look no further than the voices you allow near you. Let me speak plainly. If your circle does not lift you, you must walk alone until you find one that does. This is not cruelty. This is necessity. You cannot pour new wine into old skins. You cannot build a palace with broken bricks. The mind is influenced most by its environment, and if you keep the wrong company, no amount of affirmation can save you. Cut ties with weakness. Withdraw from gossip. Refuse the company of the uninspired. In their place, seek out the few, yes, the few, who are moving upward, who are building something of substance, who speak in terms of vision, courage, and creation. Your mastermind does not need to be large. It needs to be aligned. Even one other person with a definite aim, a burning desire, and disciplined thought can multiply your power tenfold. But until you find them, walk alone. Because it is better to walk alone in strength than to march with a crowd going nowhere. Now, I will give you a principle that few men understand, and even fewer apply. It is this: controlled attention. The ability to direct your mind where you choose and keep it there. The man who controls his attention controls his fate. Every great achievement was built by a mind that refused to wander, a mind that locked in on a purpose and refused to be distracted. Controlled attention is the fuel of persistence, the shield of clarity, the birthplace of vision. Abraham Lincoln was mocked, opposed, betrayed by friends, abandoned by allies. His cabinet doubted him. His country was split in two. And yet, he walked in silence. He was not driven by applause nor moved by criticism. He was driven by purpose. He kept his attention fixed on unity, on principle, on the long view. And that is why he prevailed. Not because the noise ceased, but because his inner voice was louder than the outer chaos. You must do the same. You must train your attention daily. When you wake, do not reach for the opinions of the world. Do not absorb the headlines of fear. Do not bathe your mind in the trivial. Let the first hour of your day belong to you, to your aim, to your thoughts, to your vision. Speak your affirmations. Visualize your end. Write your intentions. Feed your subconscious with power before the world can feed it with doubt. This is the hour for kings, not beggars of attention. The hour for creators, not reactors. You must learn to protect your mind like a fortress. You must decide what enters and what is denied. If you do not, the flood of the world will sweep away your discipline. And once your attention is gone, your power follows. Say this aloud now. I trust my inner voice. I walk by vision, not opinion. I do not need permission to be great. Let this be your creed. You do not require validation. You do not need applause. The man who is driven by mission will be mocked by the masses, but only until he wins. Then they will call him genius. Then they will say he was lucky. Let them talk. You were not made for their approval. You were made for execution. Let me offer you a challenge. For the next 7 mornings, begin your day in total silence. No voices, no noise, no outside input. Let the first sound you hear be your own declaration, your own command. Let it be the words you have written. Let it be the image you have visualized. Train your attention to obey you. Teach your mind to wait on your instruction. This is the beginning of mastery. You must also learn to withdraw, not from life, but from the unnecessary. Withdraw from senseless arguments. Withdraw from the shallow opinions of the unqualified. Withdraw from the noise that feeds your doubt and clouds your focus. Make solitude your ally. Make stillness your power. In silence, the mind sharpens. In silence, vision becomes clear. Controlled attention is the gate to all riches. What you focus on expands. If you give your attention to failure, you will experience more of it. If you give your attention to power, you will grow in strength. Your life will rise or fall according to the direction of your gaze, so look up, look forward, look within, and refuse to look where your aim is not. Let me remind you that your subconscious obeys attention. It remembers what you focus on. It amplifies what you rehearse. If you focus on fear, it expands. If you focus on strength, it multiplies. So when doubt knocks, do not answer. When gossip tempts, turn away. When fear whispers, shout back with belief. Every moment of focus is a moment of creation. Now hear me well. You were not made to be a leaf blown by the winds of others' voices. You were made to be a pillar, a man of immovable conviction, a commander of your world. That kind of man is not common. That kind of man is not popular. But that kind of man is powerful, and that is who you are becoming. So say it again. I trust my inner voice. I walk by vision, not opinion. I do not need permission to be great. Let this be the voice you rise to. Let this be the voice that guides you. Let this be the foundation you return to when the world grows loud. And above all, protect it. For as long as your inner voice is clear, there is no force strong enough to break you. Defeat is a liar. It wears the costume of permanence, but it has no substance. It is a shadow that vanishes the moment you confront it with persistence. Defeat is not real unless you accept it. The world will try to convince you otherwise. It will present the illusion that failure is final, that setbacks are signs to stop, that difficulty is proof of unworthiness. But I tell you plainly, every man is defeated only when he surrenders his will. There is a vast difference between failure and temporary defeat. Failure is the graveyard of the man who stops. Temporary defeat is the training ground of the man who wins. One is an ending. The other is a beginning. The one who persists through temporary defeat, who adjusts but does not retreat, who learns and improves and strikes again, that man cannot be stopped. Time will yield to him. Life will bend to him. Even fate will kneel to him. Let me tell you the story of R.U. Darby. He heard of gold in Colorado. With excitement and effort, he bought equipment, began digging, and struck a vein of ore. He needed machinery to bring it to the surface, so he raised funds and went to work. But suddenly the vein disappeared. After weeks of digging and searching, nothing. Discouraged, he quit, sold the machinery for a few $100s to a junk man. The junk man, unfamiliar with mining, did a simple thing. He hired a geologist. The expert studied the mine and discovered that the vein of gold still existed. Just 3 feet from where Darby had stopped. 3 feet. The junk man went back, dug 3 more feet, and pulled millions of dollars from the earth. Darby had been so close, but he accepted defeat, and in doing so, turned success into loss. But the story does not end there. Darby learned a lesson that changed his life. He vowed never again to stop 3 feet from gold. He entered the insurance business and became one of the most successful salesmen in the nation. Why? Because every time he heard the word no, he said to himself, I will dig 3 more feet. That is the difference between the man who wins and the man who whines. One pushes, the other retreats. You must develop the mental habit of persistence, not temporary effort, not quick enthusiasm, but relentless, unshakable, day after day, storm through fire persistence. That quality alone is the common trait of every success I have ever studied. The man who keeps going will always outlast the man who merely begins. Say this aloud. I persist. I do not stop. I grow stronger under pressure. My destiny will not be denied. These are not just words. They are weapons. Speak them when you feel tired. Speak them when you are discouraged. Speak them when the world laughs or ignores or criticizes. Let them become your inner shield, forged in truth, hardened by repetition. You will encounter opposition. You will face failure. You will be betrayed, doubted, ridiculed. But these are not signs to quit. These are the tests that separate the weak from the worthy. Every man who has risen to greatness has first walked through the valley of discouragement, and the only thing that brought him out was persistence. Now hear me. There are 6 ghosts of fear that haunt every man who dares to dream. The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. But the greatest of these, the ones that hold back most men, are the fear of poverty and the fear of criticism. These 2 fears choke desire before it breathes. They silence action before it moves. But I tell you this, they are illusions. They are shadows with no substance. They live only in the mind that accepts them. And when you confront them with decision, when you act in defiance of fear, they vanish. You must walk into fear not with hesitation, but with fire. And each time you do, your confidence grows, your will strengthens, your belief multiplies. When you feel that fear creeping into your thoughts, when your knees begin to tremble and your mind begins to doubt, repeat your aim aloud, not quietly, not questioningly, boldly. Let it become your battle cry. Say, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I will achieve. Nothing will stop me, not fear, not fatigue, not failure. And then move, act, persist, strike again. Do not speak of defeat. Do not rehearse your obstacles. The man who tells his story of hardship over and over is digging his own grave. He is laying bricks of pity around his potential. You must rise above that. You must tell the story of your vision, not your victimhood. Speak of where you are going, not where you've been. That is how leaders are made. That is how victors are forged. Excuses are the language of the defeated. And every time you say, I couldn't, I tried, it wasn't the right time, you are protecting your comfort, not your future. You are making a case for limitation instead of fighting for your liberation. And if you continue that way, you will one day look back with the heavy burden of regret, which is the cost of every excuse ever spoken. Write this down. Every trial is training. Every obstacle, a signal to grow. My struggle is not the end, it is the gate to my next level. Let that truth become your foundation. The fire is not here to destroy you, it is here to refine you. The pressure is not here to punish you, it is here to awaken you. Your soul was not made for comfort, it was made for conquest. Let us be very clear, most people quit too early. They quit when they are tired. They quit when they are uncertain. They quit because someone criticized them. They quit because it became hard. But the man who is committed beyond convenience, he wins. Because the universe cannot deny a man who refuses to retreat. The laws of success are written for the persistent. Repeat this when you feel weak. I persist. I do not stop. I grow stronger under pressure. My destiny will not be denied. These words are your armor. These words are your anchor. These words are your contract with life. And if you honor them with your action, You will rise. Let me challenge you. The next time you feel discouraged, the next time you think about quitting, do the opposite. Take one more step, make one more call, write one more page, knock on one more door, try one more way. That is how gold is found, just beyond the point where most men stop. Push past the wall. The treasure is never before it. It is always behind it. You were not born to surrender. You were born to persist. You were not created to bow to circumstances. You were created to command them. The man who holds the line in battle, who keeps marching when others collapse, who endures when others excuse, he is the one whom life crowns. So I say to you now, no matter where you stand, no matter what you've faced, no matter how deep the valley or long the night, if you will not quit, you cannot lose. And that is the promise written into the very structure of this universe. Stand up. Speak your aim aloud. Plant your feet in the ground of decision and declare, I persist. I do not stop. I grow stronger under pressure. My destiny will not be denied. That is the man who cannot be broken. That is the voice that fear cannot silence. That is the identity of a leader, a builder, a conqueror. Defeat is not real unless you accept it. And you, my friend, were not made to surrender. You were made to overcome. You have heard every word. You have been reminded of your power. You have been shown the path. You have no more excuses. You have no more reasons to delay. You have been equipped with eternal principles, each forged in truth, proven by the greatest men of history, and now placed into your hands. What you do next will determine everything. Obedience to these laws is not optional. It is the price of transformation. Let me now place before you the full structure, the very system by which your entire identity will be rebuilt if you will apply it daily with intensity and discipline. Wake with purpose. No more dragging your body into the day with no clear reason for rising. No more aimless mornings. Each day must begin with awareness. Before your feet touch the floor, declare who you are. Decide what this day will build. Purpose must be your first thought, not reaction, not fear, not doubt. The man who wakes with purpose walks through the day like a king, unshaken by distractions, immune to the noise of the world. Repeat your definite aim. Speak it aloud. Let it thunder through your subconscious. Let it become so familiar that you could never again forget why you are here. Write it, post it, memorize it, say it until your soul believes it. This is your command to life. Life cannot give you what you want if you do not tell it what to deliver. A vague mind leads to a vague existence. A definite mind builds definite results. Affirm your faith, not quietly, not uncertainly, boldly. Faith is the foundation. Faith is the tool. Faith is the fire. You do not wait to feel faith. You build it. You speak it. You act on it. You live as though what you desire is already on its way. Your subconscious responds to belief far more than logic. Faith creates the emotional energy necessary for momentum. It turns your aim into an obsession and your doubts into dust. Control your thoughts. This is the battleground. This is where victory is secured or lost. Guard your mind like a fortress. Do not allow complaints, gossip, fear, or limitation to enter. You become what you dwell on. Feed your subconscious only the thoughts you wish to see become flesh. No more idle talk. No more what-ifs. No more rehearsing failure. Replace every negative thought immediately with a spoken truth. Train this like a soldier trains his trigger hand until it becomes automatic. Act without hesitation. This is your sword, your power, your edge. You cannot think your way into greatness without moving your body toward it. Every morning must begin with one act toward your definite chief aim. A message, a plan, a step, a decision. Nothing is too small, so long as it is definite. Action builds belief. Action builds momentum. Action separates the man of destiny from the man of delay. Hesitation is the seed of regret. Move now. Always now. Reject fear. especially the fear of poverty and the fear of criticism, which destroy more dreams than failure ever has. Fear is a liar. Fear is the ghost of what could go wrong. But the man of decision silences fear with movement. The moment you act in the face of fear, it weakens. The moment you delay, it multiplies. Fear cannot live in a mind full of faith, and faith is grown by repetition, decision, and aligned action. Reject fear not by feeling strong, but by obeying your purpose despite it. Walk with inner vision. The opinions of the crowd mean nothing. You are not ruled by approval. You are not driven by applause. You are guided by vision, and your vision was not given to the masses. It was given to you. Walk in silence, build in solitude, decide in quietness. You do not owe the world an explanation for your greatness. Your results will speak when the time comes. For now, keep your eyes on what you are building and shut your ears to the noise of the world. Refuse defeat. When you feel tired, persist. When you are laughed at, persist. When you fail, persist. When your plans collapse, persist. Nothing can stop a man who will not be stopped. This is not exaggeration. It is law. The man who endures is always the last one standing. Life will reward you not for brilliance, but for tenacity. Do not measure yourself by the size of your failure. Measure yourself by the depth of your refusal to quit. Every trial is preparation. Every delay is sharpening. Refuse defeat. Now say this aloud, not with timid hope, but with thunder in your voice. I am the master of my fate. I demand riches of life. I walk with purpose. I rise above fear. I was born to succeed. This is not a statement. It is a declaration. It is the law by which you now live. Let it become the language of your heart, the energy of your actions, the fuel of your daily routine. When you wake each morning, repeat it. When you doubt, return to it. When the world grows loud, whisper it again and again until the noise fades and your power returns. You may not recognize the man who first began listening to these words. You may have come here tired, scattered, unsure of who you are or what you were born to do. You may have wandered through your days waiting for something to change. But now change has begun. You have heard the truth. You have tasted authority. You have touched identity. And the man who has seen his own potential can never again be content with living beneath it. If you listen to this daily, speak your aim aloud, take action toward your goal, and hold nothing back, you will not recognize yourself 30 days from now. That is not a guess. That is not a maybe. That is a promise backed by universal law. You will walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You will attract different people. You will build different outcomes. You will have become the kind of man this world obeys. Your results are not magic. They are mathematics. Every morning you obey this process is one step closer to the inevitable transformation of your life. And each step compounds. Each repetition deepens your identity. Each act of faith builds your legacy. All that is required is consistency, obedience, decision, repetition. These are your tools. Use them. Now I issue my final command. Wake up different. Wake up with power and never again sleep on your potential. This is your time. This is your season. This is your life, and it is waiting to be claimed. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Begin now. Move now. Build now. Because the man who lives by these laws cannot lose.